to order. Let's do a roll call. Cut. All 9 council members are present. Can I get the prayer by Patricia McCarty and the pledge of allegiance by Mr. Champagne?
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. We take this moment to acknowledge the Almighty God and thank Him for our bountiful blessings, especially for the parish's natural resources. We give thanks to God for our brave and courageous men and women in our military who daily risk their lives to protect our precious freedom. And we pray for our world leaders to know how to obtain world peace. We pray that this government body comprised of both council and administration will also serve our parish with honesty, humility, and equality for all. And as this government body gathers here today, we pray for the wisdom to know right from wrong and the courage to always do that which is right. Amen. Amen. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, amen.
Raise the flag.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
We're not going to have any executive session. So next thing is I'll let.
Proclamation.
Yes.
A proclamation declaring April 6, 2025, Edith Kathleen and Dimension International Gospel Choir Day in Plaquemines Parish.
Like to read it for me? I offer it. Unanimous second, please.
Y'all voting?
We're gonna read.
Yeah, unanimous second.
Whereas Edith Kathleen and Dimension International Gospel Choir of the Netherlands is composed of Dutch choirs in 4 regions of the Netherlands and Europe and toured in the United States on 2 occasions. Whereas Edith Kathleen and Dimension International Gospel Choir's first visit to the United States was in 2015, featuring a 100-voice choir, included a historic visit to St. John Baptist Church in downtown Phoenix, Louisiana. Whereas Edith Kathleen and Dimension International Gospel Choir's second visit to the United States in May 28, 2017, featuring a 100-voice choir, also included a visit to downtown Phoenix, Louisiana. Whereas Edith Kathleen and Dimension International Gospel Choir, featuring a 50-voice choir, will visit St. John Baptist Church on Sunday, April 6, 2025. During this historical visit, 2 members of the choir have requested to be baptized during their visit to downtown Phoenix, Louisiana. That's it.
Read the noun.
Oh, to be proclaimed. To be it proclaimed that the Plaquemines Parish government established Sunday, April 6, 2025 as Edith Kathleen and Dimension International Gospel Choir Day, a day of commitment to share grace, love, spiritual connection, and unity of believers with Almighty God and each other. Edith Kathleen and Dimension International Choir Day in the parish of Plaquemines.
Okay. Good. Good.
That's it, yeah.
We have Pastor Ramel Griffin from the Zion Travel Baptist Church. His brother had a church in the Netherlands, Dexter Griffin, and that's how the relationship started this group from Europe. And so he's here to accept this proclamation. Yeah, I thought we
Does he
voted.
want to speak?
Yeah.
Would you like to speak?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let me begin by saying good afternoon. And on behalf of the St. John Baptist Church in Phoenix, Louisiana, on behalf of Dimension International Choir, And when we say Dimension International Choir, I'm just trying to just draw a picture of the scope. These people are actually traveling from Europe via the Netherlands to the United States, and they have about 6 or 7 stops planned. And some reason it's just important to them to visit Phoenix, Louisiana, and Plaquemines Parish. And what we do this morning is we offer an invitation to everyone who's present here to join us on April 6th at 10 o'clock, just to witness what God is doing through this wonderful work led by Edith Castellan. We presented this to my president, Reverend Dr. Tyrone Edwards, and he said that he would duly submit this to you for approval. And again, we just thank you for what you have done. This truly make us feel extremely well and received by this council here in Plaquemines Parish. Amen?
Thank you. All right, let's vote on it. Any comments? Anyone else?
Where is downtown Phoenix?
It's about, it's the opposite side from that Wild Bank on the west bank. You don't go there, bro.
Is that the same place that, what we call?
Where your relatives come from?
What they used to call Subsocia?
St. Sophie, where your relatives come from. Right. Isn't that where your grandmother is from?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right. Dr. Goode and myself. Mr. Franklin, thank you, and it's passed. And we're gonna come down and take a picture. I had a chance last year when it came here to witness them at St. John. We want to take a picture with you.
Okay, great.
Just sit on the floor like Christian. He's done it to me before. Right.
Oh no, y'all need to stand close together, tighten up the ship so that I don't see, not seen.
Patty, you gotta control yourself. Was not me.
Where we at now?
We're on item 4.
Was that a plantation?
What, yeah.
I never heard of that.
Well, it's the first place, there used to be a map in the public library, it's the first, Perez had a plaque made. It's the first day of present day Louisiana, Rice Island, Television. They had a plantation, and Fort Boulaye was there. Yeah. All right, next item on the agenda, please.
4 administration updates.
Good afternoon. On the administration side, from Ms. Taylor, Community Action Agency, they're going to have a food distribution for registered residents on the East Bank. It'll be held the week of April 22nd through the 25th. And on the West Bank, it'll be April the 23rd. The administration will follow up on locations and times to these offices. For operations, Mr. Wishers, he completed the site cleanup of the PPG complex in prep for an event coming this Friday. We got the Jeep Bash coming in. They're expecting somewhere in the neighborhood of 3,000 Jeeps to come in. So that's an event happening this weekend there. They also completed the site cleanup at the Buras Boat Harbor between the harbor and 23 using the infamous Marshmaster. And then from there, they'll be bringing the Marshmaster over here to the East Bank and prep for some jobs in District 1. Numerous ditches have been cut and swept parish-wide. The 2 new ditch bank cutters are in, and as soon as we get them ready to work, we'll be assigning one to the southern end and one to the east bank side of the river. A culvert was placed under the Braithwaite Pump Station Road to drain the area between the levee and the road, and several ditches are being swept in both Districts 1 and District 7. Preparations are being made this week to cut a swell ditch along River Road in the Boothville area. We expect this to help with the constant road flooding in that area. For Mr. DeMarco, we've got some updates on what seems some of these projects. We just can't find the end of the day on them. I got the Bell Chase raw water intake. The pump station was put online yesterday, and as of this morning, was still working as expected. The 16-inch clarifier line and demo of the old water intake building are outstanding items. This project is slated to be completed in May. Here we are with the Port Sulphur water plant electrical improvements. Barnes confirmed that Entergy was able to energize the MCC yesterday, and they continue to transfer over individual systems to the permanent power. The Alliance Booster Station, the inspection was performed on Monday. Commissioning of commission or decommissioning the generator, waiting on the Cummings. Tesco working on equipment for the SCADA communications from the booster station. Woodlawn Fire Station remodel. Legal is looking over the contract. Pre-construction meeting will be scheduled within the next 1 to 2 weeks. In coastal zone, LA 23 year 13 USDA project nominations has 2 projects being presented. Beshel's vegetative plantings and fringe marsh restoration. And then CPRA wants Plaquemines Parish to operate the siphons at Naomi and West Point Lahash, so we can install monitoring equipment in the Naomi outfall canal to track discharge velocity and elevation. We're working on the equipment and also plan to run White Ditch as a test. But all of those siphons and those areas, that all depends on the level of the river. If the river continues to be low and going lower, then those siphons won't be able to be run. Tolls are scheduled to begin no later than April the 2nd, we're being told. But I have a meeting with myself. We got someone with the sheriff's office. I've got Senator Connick's been invited, Representative Bro. My concerns is we can't allow them to start doing tolls and then start closing lanes. My request, and I hate to say demand, but we're going to be pretty strong-armed on this right here, is that I want the cones to be gone so that they can't be closing any lanes once tolls are being collected. So it's going to be interesting to see how this meeting tomorrow morning is going to go. But we'll follow up with a report on that. And that is at 10 o'clock. So if any one of you want to come in and be there with us, you're welcome to come in. It's going to be at 110 Dr. Bowen Plenary. I believe they've got an office. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the Quonset hut, but it's across the street from the Quonset hut there. Avenue A Park in District 3, we applied for a $25,000 AARP grant to help supplement the costs. We should be learning something in May on that if we're accepted. We're also researching possible private sector funding grants. Blue Cross Blue Shield Foundation supports a grant for community well-being. Raising Cane's, they have various community causes, including a Bark for Your Park grant contest. So our Lacey, she's pursuing any and all different types of grants in that direction. There was a meeting with the LASPCA on the animal shelter, engineering, and Braque, who's the architect, to discuss specific interior and exterior changes, and these designs should be back to us by April. And final, there's an election this weekend, and we encourage no specific direction in how to vote, but please go vote. And that concludes. We've got Mr. Zach and Paul Kramer here to discuss an item that we're going to be introducing today. So it'll be sitting over for the next 2 weeks, but they're just going to give us an overview what it is. And so that once you get it, please take a look at it, get with us, and if there's any changes, let's get together with Zach and Paul, Mr. Kramer.
Right here, sir. Can you
They're
get to
going
the
to want you
mic?
at the mic, Zach.
Good afternoon, council members. I know you guys know, but just for the public watching, my name is Zachary Smith. We operate in a couple different capacities for the parish. For this specifically, we're here on behalf of the administration to present a proposal for some maps, for some zoning map changes that my colleague, Mr. Paul Kramer, has been working on and is going to go through kind of a couple slides, go over some of the meat and potatoes of this. And we are, as always, available for any sort of questions in the meeting, and any sort of constituent questions that pop up can be directed to us or filtered through your offices or through the administration. We'll be happy to get through that. The biggest overview here is that there are many changes coming through to Plaquemines Parish. One of the biggest is the fact that we have a very proactive president who is looking to make sure that we take advantage and put Plaquemines Parish into the 21st century in tandem with a lot of the new levee work that is happening on the West Bank side. As part of that, we're anticipating some new improvements when those levees are finished and they're certified. And as part of that, rather than waiting for that to happen, the administration has taken on the challenge of making sure to proactively start changing and looking at zoning maps to make sure that there is a transparent process and that there's an open process so that the public at large, both private and public sector, both residential and commercial, understand what is open for business and what is going to be open for commerce in the decades to come. Mr. Kramer is about to present some slides. Again, we can answer as many questions as possible. Anytime we don't know an answer, we'll always take that down and get back to you very quickly. But the biggest thing we want to say is that we went to great lengths in this proposal to safeguard any existing residential and make sure that the lines are very clear so that future commerce, future development is not infringing upon those areas. And that, again, this is now a predictable path for Plaquemines Parish to be open again for business. Thank you.
Thank you. So Zach Smith Consulting was asked to develop a set of zoning map and text proposals for the area shown on this map.
Can you tell us where you're from, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. Paul Kramer. I'm with Zach Smith Consulting. I live here in New Orleans.
Okay.
So this map shows an area where the dotted line represents the area where Plaquemines Parish has made investments in levee protection. This 11,000 plus acre area is predominantly zoned currently as FP Floodplain District, which is a zoning district designed for an area that regularly floods and accordingly has limited land use permissions. The proposal is to apply the zoning and map text amendments so that the public and developers understand the authorized and appropriate land uses, and to provide for the continuation of residential areas with buffers to protect from new development impacts. So some of the text amendments involve the existing I-3 heavy industrial district, which you're going to see in maps later, would be greatly expanded within this area. The amendments proposed are to provide increased setbacks from districts where residential uses are permitted, to provide new setbacks from non-industrial commercial uses, to specifically authorize marine uses to account for port activity, to authorize temporary RV parks to address construction worker housing needs, and to continue the parish's environmental impact review requirements for any new heavy industrial use and any industrial use on the river side of the levee, which is forwarded to the council for its action. This is also proposed to allow the council to impose deed restrictions on a development within 300 feet of a zoning district that permits residential uses by right. In order to improve the administration of the comprehensive zoning ordinance, we proposed a definition of marine services because none existed at this time. So the definition would be added to the text of the comprehensive zoning ordinance. Marine services would be defined as water-dependent uses such as general cargo operations, tour boats, docking and refueling of vessels with facilities including but not limited to docks, piers, wharves, and storage used for waterborne commodities, and rail and truck facilities serving water-dependent uses. In addition, a new mixed-use zoning district, commercial industrial district, is proposed. This is a district that would provide for a transitional area, in some cases between residential uses and heavy industrial. It authorizes a full range of permitted commercial uses to support nearby residential uses. It authorizes only light industrial uses within the list of permitted uses. It does authorize marine services, again, to account for port activity. New permanent residential uses would not be permitted to avoid future conflicts with industrial uses. Allowances for large public gathering spaces would not be permitted to avoid future conflicts with industrial uses. And schools other than vocational type schools would not be permitted to avoid future conflicts with industrial uses. It also would allow continued use of existing residential, including the ability to expand that residential use with no increase in the number of dwellings. So as if someone needed a new bathroom, they would not be hampered by being in one of these new district, in this new district. This district would also allow temporary RV parks to address construction worker needs. So temporary RV parks, although mentioned in both the I3 heavy industrial district and the new MU mixed use district, those references as permitted uses also are covered by the council's ordinances involving RV parks. So those council ordinances would still be in force. Zach Smith Consulting has provided a series of recommendations that the council may use to amend the temporary recreational vehicle park and site ordinance 2264 as amended. These recommendations include a minimum of 50 spaces per temporary RV park, screening and fencing, dumpster and dumpster screening requirements. And that's in addition to all the standards that the council has already imposed in that ordinance. So the first of 4 areas we're going to see, and they're divided by drainage districts. The first is Alliance Myrtle Grove, which is the farthest upriver. The maps show an extensive I3 zoning district proposal, which includes some of the current heavy industrial uses that are now zoned floodplain district. There's 3 community areas, Ironton, Myrtle Grove, and Wood Park, shown on this map as insets. Where residential uses exist, the proposed zoning is shown as C1 neighborhood commercial, which is a district that permits residential uses, including mobile homes, which may be existing or planned for currently vacant lots. For Ironton and Myrtle Grove, the proposal extends the C1 zoning to the river to protect the river views from the levee so that residents of that area could go to the levee and have an unobstructed view of the river. The Point Celeste Drainage District is the next one shown on your maps. This shows also an extensive I3 district proposal. This area includes the Venture Global project for which the zoning was already changed a number of years ago. The area also includes properties owned by the port or of interest to the port. The MU district shown preserves a concentration of some residential and commercial uses. And next we have the West Point Hatch area, which is much smaller than the previous 2 drainage districts. It includes a parish water treatment facility, 2 concentrations of residential uses, which are both proposed for the C1 neighborhood commercial, which permits residential, and an MU district adjacent to the residential. And finally, we have the Magnolia Drainage District. This is also small compared to the first 2 maps. It is undeveloped and has no residential uses, so it is proposed entirely for I3 district. We do have attached to this presentation the full set of the proposals for the MU district, the new zoning district, and the amendments to the I3 district, as well as the different options that the council could consider for amending the RV park ordinance. But these are very long, so we're going to just leave it at this, and you're certainly welcome to get a copy of this presentation. Thank you.
Make sure he said ones you need to. Can you make sure he said the ones
Happy to answer any questions.
Make sure he sends ones you need to, because I need it for the record.
We just want to make sure you send one to our council secretary so she can get it out to all of us.
Very good. Yeah, we can leave the USB.
That's what I just said. Mr. Conover.
Will do.
Any comments from the audience first? You can sit down if you want, sir.
Sure.
Clarence Brox, 156 Edith Campbell Lane. That's a nice presentation the two young men just presented. And the only thing I heard that industries is coming, and they're going to make it allow the people that in this area existence, like Ironton, Myrtle Grove, and West Parnahash got a few homes, that they will be allowed to continue on being there. But the industries are coming. When industry comes, they also bring a lot of pollution. And y'all plan on having a town hall meeting to let the people know in these areas that they are coming? And if they're gonna be using, if you turn one substance to another substance, from a solid to a liquid, you're gonna have some kind of fumes or something gonna get in the air and change the quality of the air, and that could affect both sides of the river, East Bank and the West Bank. Or y'all gonna give us let us know that how safe we're gonna be when these industries do come?
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Brock, with this ordinance right here doesn't change any of this. What this does, this starts the process to go and start having those town halls. I mean, this is probably, if this is voted on in 2 weeks or in a month, what is the process? I mean, what's the length after that? It's essentially.
Mike.
Yeah, get to the mic. You might get to the mic.
It's not an overnight process.
Yeah, it's not an overnight process, and essentially this is to allow us to formally get started, where we're essentially going to have, I believe, 3 public town hall kind of meetings spread throughout Plaquemines to make sure that neighbors of all parts of Plaquemines have ease of access. And fundamentally to that question, it was brought up in the slides, but there is no watering down of the environmental impact reviews for any of the actual heavy industrial. So while this is bringing predictability for potential future commerce, it does not in any way, shape, or form give some sort of overnight rubber stamp for anything that's going to start talking about high intensity manufacturing, liquids to gases, gases to solids, et cetera, et cetera. Those sorts of safety reviews and environmental impact statements have always been required and will always continue to be required on a case-by-case basis.
The reason why I say that, but maybe 3 weeks ago, my wife and I was headed from Phoenix to Parnahash, and the LNG plant was at the fire, and they had a big whole haze of smoke coming straight in our area. And that got to be landing somewhere. It may have shot way to the marsh, but it was coming from that plant, and it was a lot of, whatever the chemical was, it didn't look like it could be healthy to the people. So that's the reason why I'm asking. When these industries come, they're going to put some kind of something to the atmosphere. And also, we got to remember there is such thing as climate change. We put all these industries in this area. We cannot withstand, especially the East Bank, withstand hurricanes. Industries do bring in hurricanes. If you don't believe me, ask Lake Charles. They had like 3 hurricanes in 1 year. Thank you.
Mr. Brockton, before you go, the one of the things I would agree with you with that you started, I'm a firm believer that while we're gonna have public hearing, I'm a firm believer that we should have public hearing up front on stuff rather than have to put together and present it to people. So I'm in agreement with you that this process was sort of put together and then presented to people. I still think that we should have community meetings with people prior to us coming to play it. However, that's not how it's functioned. So I'm in agreement with you
Yeah.
on that point.
The reason why, because our voice might mean something if you haven't spent a whole lot of money first. But if you spend a whole lot of money, ain't no way we're going to be able to stop people from coming, companies from coming in. So we need to say something before it started. Have a voice at least. 9 out of 10, it's still going to come. But I thank y'all.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience?
Hi, David Clark, 108 Avenue, Bell Chase, 108 Avenue, whatever. The boundaries that are set on the northern side, how did we come up with as far north? Is that as far north as we're going with these boundaries that you guys set as far as the zoning? Why didn't we go up any further? There's a lot of property and vacant property and stuff there.
So these were and I don't know if we can possibly put the map back up.
One second.
Yeah, so the area in the dotted line is where the parish has made the investments in improving the levees. And so that is a good starting point for looking at a revision of the zoning in those areas. Could the parish use a comprehensive revision of zoning? Sure. And especially in terms of format and mapping. Parish has a lot of paper maps for its zoning ordinance that could certainly be digitized.
Okay, this is your recommendations as far as what you guys are bringing forth.
Right,
to
we
have
weren't asked
mass zoning.
to determine the area ourselves. We were asked to look at this area because of
Okay.
the investments.
Okay, so it's something that, as a parish, we had these imaginary lines, and this is where we want to look at our investments. Just wanted to make that clear.
It's basically a starting point. I mean, this
Okay.
is, like I said, this is very, very preliminary. I mean, there's a lot that could change with this. Now, as far as, the line that you're talking about, that's going over by the hotel and that's in a predominantly residential areas.
Well,
Because basically at the Laura Seed area, that's where the old P66 facility is, and that was a basis on, you've got industry there, so you just kind of keep working it to the south.
I get it, but, as everybody knows, I got a pretty big investment there, and I'm looking.
This,
Excuse me.
this is something.
Excuse me. Can you sort of just make a presentation to it? Because I know we're going to have hearing.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into a lot of questions.
And I'm kind of like what Mr. Brock said, town hall meetings would be great before we vote on something. It should apply to a lot of the big changes that we want to make, changes to charters, things like that. If we could have our input in first and come about these lines, which I'm not saying is a bad idea or not, but we can adjust these things out front before it comes before council and gets voted on, and then we have to live with the aftermath and try to come to a consensus at a town hall. So that's kind of the point I was trying to address here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else from the audience? Mr. Konovich, if I can get you in.
He's good. On.
Yes, with your meeting with Plenary and DOTD and all them. I brought it up to Senator Connick already, but as soon as you sign up for that toll tag, you start getting numerous scam emails and texts, and their system must be hacked. So my stuff is hacked.
I think they're hacking everybody, because I'll be honest with you, I haven't signed up yet, and I'm getting those text messages. But they're all scams. And Secretary Donahue, he's very much aware of it. So we've asked them to look into their system and see if there's something that they can do to eliminate that. The Attorney General's office is working on it, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Zach, all this is if FEMA gives us the right zoning, right? For this new zoning, because if it's still a floodplain, what can we build in a floodplain?
Well, fundamentally, yes. I mean, the maps have not changed, but again, this is a proactive step in anticipation of what is eventually going to be the finished newest phase of the NOV. And you're going to have federally certified levees where we're fully expecting many of these areas. For instance, in the maps that were adopted by the council on January 15th of 2021, Ironton, for instance, went from an old B zone, B as in boy, where you basically only had to be up, 2 feet off the ground. It went to a V, which has been very detrimental to the rehabilitation and reconstruction of Ironton. We expect that those maps are going to change back in a helpful way to where those flood maps are going to go back to an A zone of some sort and possibly lower that down, because they're going to take into account the new, 12 to 16 foot levees, whereas currently they're only taking into account the old 4-foot levees. So this is one of the other reasons why this study is focusing on this area, is because it corresponds also with this next wave of levy certification. There's no limit to where this study can go. And just as a general kind of statement about the explanation, just again for the folks listening at home, for the folks in the room, the vote to kind of let us go forward is to let us go forward. It is not a certification of any map that you've seen today. Because Plaquemines is so spread out and it's so stretched, it's important for us to have productive community meetings to essentially come with some homework. We can go to the first community meeting and say, hey, let's just look at a blank map of Plaquemines Parish without any kind of expectation. And there's really nothing to judge. There's really nothing to push back on. There's really nothing to give comments on. So it was, again, one of the proactive parts of what the administration sought to do was to make sure that there was something concrete that people can actually give comments on. So again, any sort of permission now with the council is in no way, shape, or form adopting what you guys have just seen on your screens. This is allowing the official zoning process to start, which includes those community meetings, all of the feedback. This is a proposal only at this stage, and eventually it'll get to something that we hope is going to be adopted close to it, but taking in all of the community feedback from that. But we found that it would have been very, very challenging to get any real community feedback if we didn't have some sort of maps to point to and some sort of direction so that they could get that feedback. But yeah, fundamentally, we are going back to the original question, Councilman. There's an expectation that FEMA is going to certify its new levees and is going to change to the benefit of this area, the flood maps, in the upcoming 2 to 4 years.
Because I remember the vote getting stuck with their map system, because I got a 21-foot levee by me and I'm still in a flood zone V. So what's a 15-foot levee going to do?
All of this comes into play, and there's I could say all the what ifs. In 1 year, FEMA may or may not even exist. So it's one of those situations where we got to play with the best available data we have today, and the best available data we have today is that we are expecting improved flood maps that this council or the next council is going to be able to adopt. That is going to open up a lot of this area to development and doing it in a constructive and positive way, taking into consideration all of the public input that we're expecting to get and incorporate into these maps over the next couple of months as we do those town halls.
I'm just going with what FEMA brought to us before, and all the improvements we made in the marsh and all of that, they don't take none of that into account to do their maps. So what's going to change from a 15-foot levee,
In this particular area, I believe that this area is going to be now essentially have a ring of federal levees around it where there isn't necessarily going to be a weaker spot, which I know unfortunately as some areas further down the road have just not had the full envelope. But preliminary conversations with our Region 6 folks is expecting positive improvements with the future flood maps once these maps are certified and finished. So,
Like I said before, from Port Selford to Venice, you got a 21-foot levee, then you're gonna get a better result out of a 15-foot levee?
I think part of it takes into consideration the entire system being complete, and I know the work they're doing right now, I think is part of that. So the best available data we have is that the areas that we've shown are gonna move in a more positive direction once they're certified. That's the best answer I have for you today, based on conversations, but I definitely
You know
hear your
what-
frustrations.
You know what if means, huh?
I'm fully aware of that, fully aware of that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman.
Mr. DeMarco, I know we talked yesterday about mosquito control, but I just want on record, can you give an update on when spraying will start and plane status and all that? Because I'm already getting complaints and people want to know what's going on.
Yes, they're currently doing, going over the trucks and the sprayers, make sure everything's in working order, and April 1st, they'll start their routine spraying.
And are we going to have a schedule put out on?
Yeah, it should be out already, but I'll update
Okay.
that. I'll have them update that if anything changed on that schedule that was posted last year.
Is the plane working?
As far as I know, the plane is operational.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, can you see me before you leave about code enforcement? I do have a question. So, thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I got a question on this. We talked about two actually. Zach, I'll ask you first. I saw some of the slides that had MU in it. What is that? What does that mean? I know it's an acronym for something.
Yes, MU stands for mixed use. It's a mixed use commercial industrial district.
Mixed use. Okay, thank you. I didn't know. Next question. And great things with the raw water intake. What are we at the GPM now at the Belle Chase raw water intake with these improvements? Are we?
With that new pump, at Belle Chase, you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with that new pump, right now, it increases the capacity about another 1 million per day. But until they get the pipe connected to the clarifier from the new pump and get that old pipe out the ground, we're not going to see that full 9 until that entire process is completed.
So
But right now, they're pulling about 1 million more.
Yeah, so when all the demo and reconnection, we should be at 9 million.
That's correct.
Thank you. I'm done.
Hi. Mr. Smith, I was going to call you by your first name. You mentioned, or somebody mentioned something about ring levies, and that just rang true for what they were saying. FEMA was saying they wanted to do right after Katrina and make circular levees and not save the connections between them. I just wanted to know, is that the same thing? Are you talking about the same thing? So for Venice, for instance, have a circle around it, and then Myrtle Grove have a circle around it, or Empire, and not have higher levies in between. I'm just asking, is that the same definition?
I was not implying the same thing.
Okay.
So it's just that this phase of what you see on the map is essentially the next area that's expected in the closest amount of time to be certified, so that we're expecting to be able to get new maps updated.
Okay.
So we can open this part up.
I just wanted to make sure that wasn't the same definition as the use.
It was not implying
Okay.
levy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make some clarification about the cones and everything that's happening at Fort St. Leon North, because there was a notice that went out that Burmaster Street, the only street to get into the neighborhood, was going to be blocked off. But I spoke for the people that are concerned. I'm getting a lot of emails now. Mr. Canaver with Plannery has said that Burmaster will be open coming from the north, going south to get into Burmaster. But if you're coming from south from Belle Chase toward the north, you can't turn into Burmaster. So, and then they're also concerned about emergency vehicles. And I've been assured, just as when we had to call the bridge and say that emergency vehicle is coming please make sure the bridge is down. Anytime dispatch or fire or EMS has a call in that neighborhood, they are clearing to make sure that they can get into that neighborhood. People are worried that they cannot get into the neighborhood. So I just want to assure the people and let them know that. Thank you.
Mr. LaFrance.
Mr. DeMarco, could you let us know, or let me know, and Mr. Jurdich, when are we gonna start repairing that road, Marlin Drive?
I'm sorry.
Marlin Drive, Gilbo Lane?
Okay. Was there a budget created for that?
No, but Kenneth told me they had the money.
I think
I'll be sure to get you an update on that.
I think Jonah and Ken went down there and did some engineering work.
Okay.
With a proposal, but it's pretty pricey, but they do have some real bad spots that need attention.
I'll be sure to send you an update on that.
Yeah, please, because I can't go to church without they bombarding me with that.
That's why you're an altar boy.
Yeah.
You stay on track.
Mr. Zach, when we talk about I-3 heavy industrial, what can be put in heavy industrial?
Sure. Zach just said, give him the highlights, don't read the whole thing because that would take a very long time. But the I-3 district is any number of variety of manufacturing uses. I'll read this one part. Any use consisting of general heavy industrial character, such uses generally being wholesale establishments, service industries, and/or industries that manufacture, compound, process, package, treat, store, and distribute goods and material, and which are generally dependent on raw materials refined elsewhere and associated with heavy industries. And then there's just a long list of things that could be manufactured. Chewing gum is on the list, plumbing supplies, and then then we get to a list of environmental impact uses, and these are the uses that go through the process where all the different departments weigh in and send a report to the city or the parish council for its action. And these include the production of things like acetylene generation and storage, alcohol, industrial aluminum, powder and paint manufacture, chlorine, molasses. Yes, and then these are all existing uses that are permitted in the I-3 district.
Can benzene?
Condensing?
Can benzene be put in?
Oh. I don't see it by that name.
Benzene? It's a byproduct with hydrochloric acid, hydrocarbon.
It's hydrogen and oxygen. So a full list would be of what's allowed in the I-3 district is available in the comprehensive zoning ordinance. We can get you up.
Could a nuclear waste site be put there?
Sorry?
Could a nuclear waste site be put there?
Fundamentally, I don't believe so, as especially a nuclear site would then be regulated by the federal government. But I do not believe in that. Those are some of those specific questions that we will have to make sure that we are absolutely clear in our answers and get back to you after this meeting. Because again, some of the terms that are in the existing zoning ordinance, which this is reading straight out of the existing Plaquemines Parish zoning ordinance for I-3, sometimes there are old, outdated, antiquated words that might be ambiguous. And we want to be very clear to you to be able to answer about nuclear waste, which again, we're not implying and I don't believe is permitted in the I-3, but I want to be very clear with that. And then benzene and any of those particular heavy uses. What I could tell you is that those would definitely be classified as needing a specific further environmental impact, and they wouldn't just be permitted by right because they happen to be in an I-3. Does that make sense? It'd be subject to council approval for those things that require the environmental impact review.
Want this council to know that I was approached by a company that was turned down by St. John Parish. Then was turned down by West Wego. And they came to see me because they want to come to Plaquemines. Bad stuff. So I'm just giving y'all a warning.
And what did they want to
So, so just because we say Plaquemine Parish is open for business, we're not open for anything. And I yield.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
maybe we could request, Zach, if you could you get us all, I don't know if maybe we all need a copy of this book, the zoning book here, and that way you'll see all of so if there's things that we may want to change and identify in our zoning and make reference to or pull in, take out, so.
And before Zach, before we come in, and that's all I was saying, Mr. President, is that he can submit that in a slide to all the council members, give us a chance to dissect it. And then also when they have community meeting, people be aware. So that's what I made early comment, give everybody a chance to read it. It is clear to me that we're going to have some community meetings, but I think as councilmen, we ought to be prepared for the community meetings, especially if we're holding our district, that we understand what's coming before us. So I'm in line with that. I just have a couple questions about what I'm confused about. I know you said no residential in this area, but then you're not saying school, but you're saying Votech school, in there. Why Votech over just a regular school, in the area?
So with the presence of all the heavy industrial uses, if there was for example, an MU district right next to that, it might provide training for some of the industrial employers that are in the vicinity, just as there might be on the I-3 district itself. Also with a vocational school, that would tend to be students who have their own transportation as opposed to a primary school where, if there was some sort of incident at a industrial facility, that their transportation wouldn't be as quick.
Okay. You want on this piece here? Okay, because I want to come back to something else.
What zone would it need to be in to have like a crab or a seafood processing plant? I-3? Because years ago, before I become a councilman, somebody wanted to put one in Buras, a seafood processing plant. And I went through it, the book, and a nuclear waste site is on it. And if that person would have got the zoning changed and went away, somebody could have went there and put one.
Just a couple of specifics, especially since some of these terms are very, they're pretty intense words like nuclear waste sites and whatnot. Again, we're reading straight out of the existing zoning code for Plaquemines Parish, which I think has been on the books for several decades. And just flipping through some of these pages, some of these heavy hitting things are there. Remember that they're never permitted, these really intense industrial uses, while the I-3 potential allows for them, they would need the permission of the council. So when it comes to nuclear and whatnot, it would always have to come back for a site-specific, project-specific. So if something was approved for chewing gum, you couldn't have the chewing gum factory go out of business and then somebody just come in with this much more intense industrial. It would set up for where they could, in theory, come, but they'd have to ask for that project by project with the council. Related to anything kind of seafood, one of the things that has been missing from the zoning, and Mr. Kramer kind of mentioned it earlier, is that there was never something specific about maritime services. So depending on exactly how they're going to operate and where they're, we assume they're getting stuff right off the water and processing. Generally speaking, it should turn this into something that's going to be a little bit easier path for our maritime industries to actually set up operations right here in Plaquemines without having to go through additional steps to open those businesses up. But we do fundamentally believe this is going to be a help for those maritime industries.
I agree that it has to come before the council, but I can't guarantee the people that the council won't accept that.
And Councilman, that is part of, what the chairman has said. We will get essentially what the current allowances are in I-3 to each of you and make sure that those are publishable, shareable. They're already on the internet, but they're publishable, shareable as part of this series of town halls. Because if there is a broader conversation about some of these things that we want to permanently change, now is one of the best opportunities to do this as part of this proactive, comprehensive kind of reform. Because if these are things that are seriously weighing on people's minds, no time like the present than to go and make those changes so that people understand this is closed or this is open for business in certain ways. Again, the number one thing about comprehensive zoning reviews and reform is that it is predictable and transparent for existing residents, existing businesses, and potential new residents and new businesses. And that's one of the biggest stifling factors of growth is when people just don't understand, or every process is slightly different, or I just don't know what the end result looks like. Everybody knows what they want to do, but they don't know how to do it. This is trying to lay a very clear path for that. So the byproduct of this process may very well turn into a lot of this area turning into I-3, but the definition and what the allowable uses in I-3 might be changed in some ways for the better, especially after hearing some of the concerns here. Again, we're here to put those maps out there for just this purpose, I said it before, so that we can elicit feedback and we can have these conversations. This is the very beginning of the proposal so that we can have this conversation started. Without it, we would stand in front of a room and just say, hey, tell me what you want in I-3. This way we can go over specifics.
Thank you.
Zach, one of the things that I would recommend you do is that I think you need to make a presentation to our zoning board so that we could always be on the same page, especially the zoning board and this council member, because we've had some serious conflict between the two. So I'm also suggesting that if something like you making this presentation, that you do that with the zoning board, so zoning board members can understand and begin to look at this process also.
Appreciate that, and Chairman, that is not only something we were planning to do, it's also required by the rules and the procedures. We would have to do that.
Thank you so much.
It's to that statement before. Everything today, this isn't like this is a cooked goose. This is allowing feedback so that we can go through those steps. But those will absolutely be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. President, I have a couple of things on terms of the administration report.
She's still in the queue.
I was up there before, but you was next after me, you know that, right? Okay. And so anyway, a couple of things is that on Highway 15, when you first come into Phoenix, when you come in toward the electrical, there's a bad highway there, and I talked to Billy about it. The asphalt is really gone, and now water's there, and the guys who's coming to work at bulk terminal in the morning talking about it getting really be scary when another car is coming. And I talked to Billy a while about this a year ago when they were doing the asphalt to come back and put a better asphalt, because when the Department of Transportation did the work, they did a very shitty job in terms of, I didn't say the word. I said it sounded like the word because that's where your mind is, right? So, but anyway, they did a messed up job there on it, and it been a problem. If a car hit it, it could cause a problem. I'm still recommending that our asphalt come and do the best they can, but not only that, while we had those gravel, to make the gravel there real thick, because it's causing some serious problem in there. So I'm hoping that's something we can look at. On the marina, I'm getting a lot of calls from people saying that the hulls that they are the slip, that the marina need to be repaired, because a lot of boats is having some serious problem bringing their boats there, putting it in there. So I'm hoping that.
Okay, are you talking about Mr.?
Apparently, Belcher Marina.
Belcher's, but that's a private business. That's not the parish's, that's Bechel's.
Okay, I thought, because I know so the work that we doing with I thought we were doing all the work with the repairing, all the stuff where the boats are coming in.
Well,
No, not where the boats, not where you launch. That's a private business. That's Beshel's Marina. The parish owns the assets to the right, the boat houses and the docks and all.
Okay.
Yeah, look, I've launched there and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. And the other thing is that the rock that we have on the levee, we need to get the sheriff to look at what's happening, because I'm getting a call from a lot of people that at late nights, trucks are going over there, getting rocks and putting it on private property. So I got 3 calls today around that, so I'm hoping we can do something about that. McCarthy?
I'd like to go back to the zoning concerns brought up by districts 7, 8, and 9. And I think you were talking about chemicals and what type of companies could be placed within the changing of the zones. Mr. LaFrance mentioned benzene. Benzene is an aromatic carbon, has 6 carbons. So right now, the country is trying to do carbon capture for creating new energy. I think we need to have a environmental chemist take a look at this, because none of us are specialized in this, and we need a little consultant to work with Mr. Smith on what should be appropriate and not,
All right.
I'm just requesting.
It's good.
Okay.
It's noted.
Anything else from the administration?
Good.
Zach, thanks for coming. As I told you earlier, the conversation I had, Mr. Garrett, I hope you could be a part of that as we look at this elevation. So thanks for coming. And if that's everything true with the administration, we'll go to the next item on the agenda. You're welcome.
Thank you, got you in and out.
5, bids and advertisements. 5A, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing one or more vacuum truck model 900 Eco 12TA TPP or equal for parish-wide use and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Edwards. Lobo. A resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing limestone, crushed stone, and
It's good. I don't know anything about that. I'm deferring that. I don't know nothing about that.
Thank you. So we're just doing A.
Yes. Just A.
I already read it.
You offer?
I offer.
I'll second for discussion.
Offer for discussion. Okay. In the audience, any comments? Administration? Mr. Conovich?
Didn't we vote on this already to give y'all the money to buy one?
This is for Brenda to be able to, for us to put it out to bid. Because
No,
could you get the microphone, please?
Can you use the microphone, please?
We've already done the bidding process, and we received 3 bids. This is just for us, for the council to give the go-ahead to accept the bids.
Okay, and we buying more than one now?
No, just one, yes, sir. That's what the budget was set up for.
Or more than more out?
No, we got 3 bids, and they were all within a couple of $1,000s of each other. 2 of the bids, the lead time is up to 6 months, but one of the bids, the truck is available now.
It was all over 500,000, huh?
They were all within, no, they were all just under 550,000. But they were all within, I think, $4,000 to $5,000.
I said they was all over 500,000.
No, they were under.
I got a piece of paper here, 549, 540.
Oh, right at 550, I'm sorry.
So we could only buy one, so we could take all more out.
That was the bid. So furnishing of one or more, I understand, yes, sir, we could. But we're only purchasing one.
With that, I'll offer.
Okay. And second by Mitch. Any other comments from the audience administration? Mr. Champagne?
Yes, I looked at this and I saw the verbiage that we had, that this was a bid. And was it a bid or was it an RFQ? Because my concern is if it's a bid, state bid law requires us to take the lowest bidder unless the evaluation criteria was established that delivery time was a planning consideration. Because the River City Hydraulics was $549,992 and the other one was $549,274. But again, the 544 one was a lower cost. So state bid law requires you to go with the lowest cost offering. So I just want to make sure we're good to go.
I forwarded this to Mr. Burris, our legal department, and he signed off on it.
If he's good to go, I'm good to go. I just wanted
Yes,
to
sir.
check. And
Oh, I referred that to Rennie.
heck,
Rennie.
I'm glad you did the homework on this, and we definitely need this piece of equipment.
Absolutely.
Newsom.
Thank you, Mr. DeMarco. I know we had, I think we give like 500,000.
It was 550,000.
Yeah, so I think we had put into the package of 500,000 when we had the equipment. Where's and I guess, where's it coming from? Where's the funds coming from?
Let's see, I have it here.
Is it coming from that fund we created for,
We passed, we created a budget. You guys created a budget specifically for this.
I think at that time we had $500,000, 500,000.
It was 550,000.
Okay, we had upped it to 550?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I stand corrected then, thank you.
Anyone else? Sheet is open then. And it passes 9-0.
Thank you.
Yes, I do.
6 beer and liquor licenses, Toast Event Room, 7427 Highway 23, Belchase, Louisiana. Lucky Food Store, 111 Crane Drive, Buras, Louisiana. Sea Train Tavern, 9080 Highway 23, Belchase, Louisiana. One for Love Fitness and Mentoring, 3rd Annual Redfish Tournament, 278 Civic Drive, Port Sulphur, Louisiana, 70083, on April 19th, 2025, from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Councilmember LaFrance.
Motion and second. Any comments from the audience, administration, table? Sheet is open for voting. And it's passed 9-0.
7 building permits, 7A construction permits, 7A1 locks, application number 2025-145, application date 3/14/2025, proposed to slide over drill barge to drill B1, Coquille Bay Field. Councilmember Edwards.
Can we do them all together?
We need to take this one
Okay,
separate.
all right. I'll offer it. Second. Any comments from the audience? Administration, table? Machine is open for voting. And it passes 8 with 1 abstention by Mr. Konovich.
And we can take B and C together.
7B, Lauren Austin, conditional approval for additional 13 spaces to existing temporary RV park, 27418 Highway 23, spaces D through P, Port Sulphur, Louisiana. All Saints Holdings LLC, conditional approval for a new temporary RV park for 36 spaces, 27181 Highway 23 and 27066 Port Sulphur River Road, Port Sulphur, Louisiana.
That was C?
That's B.
B and C in Glover.
Yeah, well,
She didn't say
You want-
C, she read
Okay.
B.
we're just gonna move on B.
You got it?
C, I'm gonna defer.
Okay. You motion, then who seconded?
So often on B.
I'll second. Any comments from the audience?
Hi, David Clark, 108 Avenue E in Belchase. Does the moratorium affect these additional spots?
No, it doesn't. This spot here was in the process. Applied for the permit, was in the process before we did the moratorium. After I did the moratorium, we came back and said everybody that was in the process before the moratorium, we will move on.
Okay.
Councilmember Schultz. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm over anxious.
Clarence Brooks, 156 Enos Campbell Land. I just want to be educated on this one. Will the water pressure handle these extra buildings, especially in Port Sulphur and Narren and all that area? The pipes, remember the pipes was getting too much of pressure, that the pipes was leaking. Can it, if it can't, oh, it can?
With the permit office,
Mm-hmm.
and it was good with everything.
All right, they're good to go for the water lines. I thank you.
Mr. Schultz?
Was this the one that had the legal spaces originally and then came back or got caught and now he's trying to do it legally?
He had 3 additional spaces.
And now he's coming back and trying to do it legally? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, he got,
Can,
Oh,
Hold
he's
on.
not on?
'Cause
All right, you're on.
yeah, he did, have the 3, he got flagged, he removed the 3. But he was already, what happened was, according to, the permit office, that they had a flaw. He had submitted his paperwork, and everything was ready to come to us. But he went ahead and had a flaw. I know.
okay, I know.
I know.
I'm just
I know
saying.
where you're going.
We, all right, that's all I need to know.
How do you feel about that? I mean, is he, sorry,
You're on.
he tried to do something illegally and now he's coming back and legally doing it?
He had put 3 additional trailers.
He's not.
Get Mitch mic on.
He had put 3 additional trailers, and now he's trying to come in and apply it. I mean, I know exactly, we're trying to be strict on this enforcement. And in fact, later on, we're gonna be renewing possibly the temporary stuff. And I mean, we gotta fix some things with this. So, I mean, I was disappointed when I found out they had the 3 additional, and he didn't wait for the conditional approval. That's the story.
Where's your feeling now?
Oh, when we vote, we'll see.
Yeah, sorry.
You know, again, I'm just so confused about how we're doing these RVs, especially after the last thing that happened, last week with Mr. Clark and stuff. I'm definitely voting no on this because I'm still confused. It's like we're flip-flopping all over the place, this. And I just hope at some point that the public can understand that we're really seriously understanding what we're doing. Because I get so many calls from people Paris-wide, because we don't have any on East Bank whatsoever. And I keep telling them I never know what's gonna happen when this stuff come up. So again, I'm definitely voting no because I'm really confused about how some things we let go, some things we don't let go. And just for the conversation we just had right now is another reason why I'm voting no. Mr. Champagne, I'm sorry. There we go.
To address some of these questions, I looked at the permit and saw that you filed this on May 30th, 2024, which was before the moratorium, as Councilmember LaFrance said. Apparently, he was in violation potentially with 3 spots. I get that. Again, I think that's why we have code enforcement, and if there was a violation, he should be held accountable for that violation, but this is something entirely different. So I think that we could look at doing both. If this is moved forward and this gentleman's allowed to have the RV space, nonetheless, he still may have committed, it was an issue on the books that needs to be enforced. So I think they're 2 separate issues. I just want to make that point. So even if this does get approved, there's still a violation out there. We have code enforcement. Let's just do our job and make sure we keep our standards up. And those standards are to move forward on a permit and to look at past discretions and address those with our zoning board. Our code enforcement. I'll bring it back up.
So she said if you could please.
I'll bring it back up.
Okay, babe, thank you.
Anyone else? Machine is open. And it's failed, 4 for, 2 no, and 3 abstain. Next item.
Hold up 1 minute, please.
Okay. Excuse me, I would like to revert back to an item that I said I wanted to take off the, on the rocks. I just got a message, Ms. Sanderson saying this is something we do annually and it need to happen. So based on that, I would like to, bring, agenda item 5B back up and off it.
A resolution authorizing the acceptance of bids for furnishing limestone, crushed stone, and riprap rock aggregate for a period of 1 year for parish-wide use, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Edwards.
I offer it. It's been second. Any comments from the audience? Administration, machine is open. Thank you so much. Next item.
7D, Empire Fireworks LLC, Charles Lee Norman Jr. Fireworks Stand Renewal for 2025, 32381B, Highway 23, Buras, Louisiana. Councilmember Jurisic.
Second by
Councilmember McCarty.
Councilman McCarty. Anyone from the audience? Administration? Table? Machine is open for voting. And it passes 9-0. Next item, please.
8, Introduction of Ordinances and Resolutions.
The following are for Councilmember Edwards. An ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of the property of Benedict Roussel et al., Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, is shown on the map of re-subdivision lots 5B1, 5B2, and 7A, into lots 5A1, 5A. That's oh. No. Mine? Yeah,
Let's continue.
okay.
You can stop reading it. I didn't introduce it. I didn't put
I
it
think
in.
it's unprofessional.
Yes.
Secretary Washington.
Well,
I think it's
it's not necessary to read it, is what I'm saying.
Well, Mr. Edwards introduced it. And in the past, other people have introduced other things in different districts. So as they said, they work for Plaquemines Parish and they could
I just
introduce
want
them
an
in any district.
opportunity to speak with them before we do this, and I didn't get a chance to speak with them, so that's why I'm saying it's my
Just an
district.
intro. You got 2 more weeks to talk to him.
I'm not going forward with it myself.
Go ahead and read it.
He hasn't talked to me either.
An ordinance approving a plan of re-subdivision of the property of Benedict Roussel et al., Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as shown on the map of re-subdivision, lots 5B1, 5B2, and 7A, into lots 5A1, 5A, 1A, and 7A1, Fort St. Leon Subdivision Square, Number 2, Square A by Bryant Hammond and Associates, certified by Hugh McCurdy III, PLS, dated January 28, 2025, the owners having fulfilled all of the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the parish of Plaquemines without cost to Plaquemines Parish government or the parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance approving a map of re-subdivision of the property of SGHWD LLC, Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, as shown on the map of re-subdivision, track BP-1, tracks BP-1A, BP-1B, BP-1C, Bohemia Plantation by Brian Hammond and Associates, having fulfilled all the requirements of the subdivision and re-subdivision ordinance of the parish of Plaquemines without cost to the Plaquemines Parish government or the parish of Plaquemines, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2025 general fund operating expenditure budget, legal judgments department for payment of pending claim, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2025 general fund operating expenditure budget, legal judgments department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution to adopt the Plaquemines Parish Government 2025 mitigation plan, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 2025 operating revenue and expenditure budgets to accept donations for Plaquemines Parish Day at the Louisiana Legislature, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. For Councilmember Champagne, we have an ordinance to amend the 2025 Road Maintenance Fund operating expenditure budget, Road Maintenance Public Right-of-Way Department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. A resolution to petition and authorize the application for a map change pursuant to and in conformity with the comprehensive zoning ordinance to rezone those certain properties located in Point Celeste Farms subdivision, phases 1 and 2, identified as follows: lots 2-A, 35 not yet acquired, 36 not yet acquired, 49, 57B, 58B, 60B, which are now owned or to be acquired by Plaquemines Port Harbor and Terminal District from the floodplain district to heavy industrial, I3 district, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. This one's for Councilmember Gooey, an ordinance to amend the 2025 manpower structure operating expenditure budget, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. The next two are for Councilmember Newsom, an ordinance to amend and as amended readopt ordinance number 04-83, adopted on March 25th, 2004, which provided for the creation and membership of the Planning, Zoning, and Development Board, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvements plan, Oakville to Lara Seat Back Levy Project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. I have two for Councilmember LaFrance. An ordinance to initiate zoning district classification maps pursuant to Section 12 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, to amend the Comprehensive Zoning District map therein adopted as amended of Section 4 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. An ordinance to initiate text amendments pursuant to Section 12 of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, to enact a proposed new Article MU Mixed Commercial Industrial District and amend Article L I3 Heavy Industrial District and Section 3 Definitions of Ordinance Number 142, the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Plaquemines Parish, Louisiana, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. I have two for Councilmember Jurasich, a resolution authorizing and directing the parish president or his designee to facilitate the removal of meters on fire hydrants parish-wide and banning the commercial use of water from fire hydrants for non-emergency situations or as deemed necessary by the Plaquemines Parish Water Department and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And finally, an ordinance to amend and as amended, readopt Section 1E of Section 22-9, water tap-on and service connection charges, and subsections 1 and 4 of Section 2214, floating meters, and enact Section 22-34, specific account designations, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. And that is all.
Can we take all the things that we need to defer before we get into, if we need to vote? Anybody have any deferral or withdrawal?
Defer B, because it's gonna fall off, that's why we reintroduced it.
Can y'all start to cue in, please? Thank you.
You heard that, Mitch? QN, okay. Mr. Chose?
I am going to withdraw E and defer G. Withdraw E, defer G. And that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Conover?
I'm sorry, we go ahead with the lease on the dock property or?
So you're trying to withdraw?
No,
I know I'm not withdrawing it.
You know, or you trying to find out?
I,
Which one we on?
D,
D, okay.
D is in dog.
D, okay. D as in dog, okay.
Let's defer.
Will it fall off?
No.
No, it's not gonna default.
You got one more?
2 more.
So D is being deferred. Okay. Mitch, you getting it? You said yours already?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone else? Mr. France?
Yes, I'm defer 9F and 9K. Next week, we're gonna have to meet and try to do something with that, temporary RV, parks.
Okay, with no other withdrawal deferral, let's take the items in order. Ordinance in order.
You want to go to, you
Yes.
ready? Okay. Ordinances and resolutions on second reading and final passage. C, an ordinance to amend the 2025 general fund operating expenditure budget, coastal zone management department, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto, and this has changes. Councilmember LaFrance.
Could you read the changes, please?
Okay, on line number 2, line 9 and 10, the coastal zone management has been changed to coastal zone levy general department. The digest has been added and changed to read, an ordinance to amend the 2025 general fund operating expenditure budget, coastal zone levy department by appropriating $250,000 from the general fund unreserved undesignated fund balance to purchase tractors to be utilized to cut grass on levees. In section 1, it is amended by appropriating $250,000 from the general fund unreserved undesignated fund balance. In the chart on line 18, 772-4600 has been changed to 774-4620 Coastal Zone Levy Department General. In the object number, it has changed to 565.020. The description, heavy, has been removed. It's just equipment, tractors, and mowers has been added, and we are increasing the amount instead of decreasing the amount by $250,000. Section 2 in its entirety has been removed, and Section 3 has now become Section number 2.
France offered,
So often,
offered unto France, second by Mitch. Any comments from the audience? Administration? Table, Mr. Schultz?
Yes, did we ever solve the problem of the prom tractors are for coastal because they were bought with Go Mesa money being transferred to coastal? Instead, this should be prom buying the new tractors, because if we bought the prom tractors or the tractors that are currently in prom with Go Mesa funds, normally you cannot transfer that outside of a coastal department. I mean, if it's bought with certain type of funds, it has to stay within that department. I'm not opposed to buying tractors. I just want to make sure we're buying it for the right department.
No, we did check and see, Shanta checked and did see that since we did buy it with Go Mesa money, we can get those tractors and then they can buy the new ones when I take mine back. But they're all gonna work hand in hand, so it's really, it's fine, whatever. It's, they can get theirs and I'll just take mine back. I think, because
Keep picking the mic, please.
When? Because I talked to her yesterday.
We didn't hear, we're not hearing what you're saying.
When did you talk to her?
The last time we discussed this. So yesterday she said we had to.
Well, I mean, she just said that if it's what's bought with Go Mesa money, that that those tractors need to stay in coastal. Now, this can be done, but then we're gonna have to do a transfer asset transfer later down the road. Why are we not just doing it correct from here? Basically, what we're buying is buying 2 tractors from Coastal, then going to transfer Prom tractors to Coastal, then transfer these tractors to Prom. I'm like, we're adding more paperwork.
When we talked about it yesterday, why we didn't just
I don't know. That's why I'm.
found out yesterday through her that
I don't know. That's why I'm just asking, because I think we're adding more paperwork, and I mean, I'm fine with it as long as that's going to be the end result.
And I'm fine whatever y'all decide, as long as I have something for these 2 new guys that are coming on to cut grass on my levee. So I'm good.
Yeah, Newsom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, so you have the 2 folks ready to go, so
They start on the 31st.
great, that's great news. So do we have 2 tractors? And I guess I'm reiterating what Mrs. Schultz says. Do we have 2 tractors in Prom that belong to Coastal?
Correct.
Okay, are we gonna take those 2 tractors from Prom and give them to your 2 guys in Coastal? Is that what we're doing?
Is that what we're doing? Sorry, that is what we're doing.
That's what we're doing. So now this is to buy 2 more tractors for Coastal, and do we have it? We don't have people operate these tractors, correct?
Well, I will have 4, but we already have the tractors that another department's been using. So this was in case I didn't get those tractors, I would need 2 tractors.
But you're all
Now
getting,
I'm taking
but you're all
my
getting.
tractors back.
I apologize. So you're taking your 2 tractors from Prom, bringing to Coastal, which you have 2 employees ready to jump on them and start cutting grass.
Yes.
So so if we buy 2 more tractors, who's gonna operate these tractors?
Prom. They'll be going to Prom. That's what we're talking about, the housekeeping.
So, and I'll be honest, this whole legislation right here is full of yellow, and that's not the way we're supposed to be doing things with this. It just, so we're gonna have to, then we're gonna have to make another change next meeting when these tractors come in and transfer them from Coastal to, anyway, that's my opinion. Thank you. And look, I'm for the tractors, to Prom to get the tractors, but we need to do a better job when we create these legislation to make sure it's right and not have to.
I totally agree.
And not have to yellow line everything, because, again, when we yellow line all this, I don't think the public gets to see it. So, anyway, thank you, and I yield.
Mitch?
Yes. I thought at the last meeting when we discussed some of this stuff that equipment bought with like certain funds after a certain period of time, that equipment could be transferred to a different department. Did I hear that correctly at the last meeting?
I didn't say that.
Chris, maybe you can answer that?
Yes.
So normally with grants, yes, after a certain period of time, you can, but we didn't know how long it was, all that other stuff, how long we bought those tractors ago. Normally, 5 years is the norm, but then you also have to, on the inventory side, make sure you note that, okay, this was bought with grant money and it's now transferred. It's a lot of extra paperwork instead of just putting the tractors where they need to go. It's better to do it, like keep them where they need to go. But yes, in a sense, you're right, but we didn't have the time period when those tractors were bought and all that stuff.
But these tractors will be driven by Prom?
Correct. So it's an administration thing on the back end. We just need to make
So,
sure
I
it's done
mean,
right.
We're cutting levies.
Oh, no,
With-
agreed.
All right, so I think we can move forward. And from what I understand, is the housekeeping is taken within the administration.
Cannabis?
Because they all used to cut levies already, even though Prom's
Correct.
driving them, because they was the only ones to have drivers, so.
Anyone else? I'm sorry, Mr. France, I didn't see you, my
Yes,
brother.
do we have specs on these tractors that you wanna purchase?
What?
What, a spec? I wanna know how many horsepower. Huh?
It'll be Prom tractors.
I was about to say, that's above my pay grade, that kind of question.
What color?
Just,
Exactly.
I'm putting it out there, 'cause, you know, that's my field. Make sure it's 100 horses.
Okay,
Make sure you gotta have 100 horses.
100 horses, okay. I'm gonna write that down,
Yes,
and they'll know what that means.
100 horsepower,
Oh, okay, that I
Yeah.
can
It's not a buggy.
yeah.
know. Never know.
You know, it- Machine is open for questions. I mean, for vote. And you can get your 100 horses.
Prom.
Next,
9H, an ordinance to amend the 2025 manpower structure and operating expenditure budget and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Edwards.
oh yes, I offer that. Second, any comments from the audience, administration, table? Machine is open for voting. And it passes 9-0.
I, an ordinance to accept offer from Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development to purchase certain land from Plaquemines Parish identified as parcel 41 and the offer letter for construction of the LA 406 roundabout at F. Edward Abair Route, LA 406 State Project Number H008220, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Champagne.
Second, Mr. Schultz. Any comments from the audience? Administration table?
I have a question.
Mr. Newsom?
Yeah, and it's just for somebody in the public asked me, do we have an anticipated date to start on this? Because somebody asked me that, and I told her, do we have any idea?
Right now, it's the first quarter of '26.
Thank
Machine is open for voting. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Conover, didn't see you, my friend.
I just want to tell people about roundabouts now, because England, where they was all invented, have red lights in every roundabout now, because if the traffic's so heavy, roundabouts don't work. Thank you.
Like Big Ben over here. Yeah, that movie Big Ben.
Do you know if the Department of Transportation, Mr. Champagne, you know if the Department of Transportation have, with the mind, Mr. Conovic said that it was lights playing? Because I mean, I know it's in England, but I don't see too many roundabouts. I've seen a couple in Louisiana that have lights, but definite.
Downtown.
Go to hand.
So but you did hear what he said, though? Okay, I'm sorry.
And I've seen the 90% plans. I think the president's office got me, sent it to me, and there were no plans for red lights, and the traffic volume did not necessitate them on the plans that we've seen.
Okay, Mr. Schultz,
I'm not going there.
okay, but you're not going there, the machine is open for voting.
That's right.
And it passes 8 with 1 no from Ms. Conovich. Next items on the agenda, please.
J, an ordinance to amend the 5-year capital improvement plan, Asphalt Road Maintenance Project, and otherwise to provide with respect thereto. Councilmember Gooey.
Second. Any comments from the audience? Administration, table. Machine is open for voting. And it passes 9-0. Next item, please.
10, approval of the minutes from the March 13th, 2025 regular meeting.
So offered.
Second. Any comments from the audience? Administration, table. Machine is open for voting. Next item, please.
11, new business. 11B, District 7 update. Update on shelves removed from Home Place. Update on contract from Diamond Park.
All of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
C, District 9 update, air conditioner, and District 9 building.
One of them's District 9.
UN.
I'm sorry.
One of them's for District 9 building. When we had the town hall meeting in the auditorium, it was hot, very hot. But last week I was upstairs and the judge came out and said in court, maybe I could get the councilman to fix the air conditioning, because you could ask Ms. Buck, she had a winter coat on upstairs. It's kind of stupid not having a thermostat in every building where the person in that office could work it like he wants. We don't have to call Mr. DeMarco to get somebody in Timbuktu to turn the air conditioner on or off. Can we see about putting thermostats?
I guess this is something, if Jeff wants to explore,
There's I'm sorry, there's different units in every 100 and, I don't know how many buildings the parish owns and that the government owns in the parish, but this building has wireless thermostats, which is, I'm learning, is not very optimal. But we could look at some options. I know what day you're talking about, Councilman, and I got multiple phone calls from multiple people saying I'm hot and I'm cold. So that day I had no idea which way to go with the thermostat or with the little bit of control I have at my console. But we could certainly explore some different options when it comes to that for this building or any other building you want to talk about.
Last Friday, I went with short sleeves, and this morning he says, "Oh, I see you dressed for the courtroom, huh?" So they all cold in there, and you could ask Miss Buck. She was freezing Friday.
Well, you don't have to ask Ms. Buck. We go through that every day here. In the wintertime, it's like this for us. Even in the wintertime, it's a serious problem in this building. And I'm just hoping that something could really happen. Because it's beyond my control as a councilman, but people come to, I'm surprised nobody haven't got sick here because in the wintertime, we still dealing with air conditioning. So I hope it's something we really take serious. Okay, if any other item? I heard you think you couldn't get motion for adjournment out, so you second it. You second it. You second it. Oh, hold on. Mr. France.
It sure is nice to come to the council meeting in Port Lahasha and don't have to go through Bell Chase all the way on the other side.
Say that, man.
Huh?
It felt good, huh?
Yeah. Could have saved me a truck.
Motion for adjournment by Councilman Schultz, it's been seconded by Councilman Konovich. Machine is open.
Do it.
All righty.
Adjourn that time.
We are adjourning at 3:45.